Hey, what's up, everybody? This is Jose Likes Fishing. I am so happy we finally got 200 subscribers on the fishing channel. I want to thank every last one of you guys that subscribed to my channel. And I want to ask you guys a question before I get into this video. And I want to see your comments. My question is, I live in Naples. I can go saltwater fishing or I can go freshwater fishing. What do you guys enjoy more? I know I do a lot of bass fishing. I'm totally addicted to bass fishing. But I live less than a mile from Wiggins Pass, so I could do saltwater or freshwater or both. What do you guys like the most? Leave your comments and let me know what you guys want so I know where to go, because I'm really addicted to bass fishing. But I got Wiggins Pass less than a mile away, so leave your comments. And let's get right into this. My top 10 best favorite fish ever caught. It's not my first snook ever, but this right here was my first snook on an artificial lure. I was fishing in Everglades City, and I saw a guy pulling a snook after the other, one after the other. And I said, "What are you fishing? Teach me the secret." The guy gave me a lure. He said, "This is a suspending lure. Give it a try," and that was my first snook on an artificial lure. Number 9. So I get into artificial fishing lures, suspending lures, and I'm out there looking for snook. And what do I hit? A barracuda. It wasn't big, but it's not a really common thing to see a barracuda this far north. So definitely a barracuda, number 9. And I caught this fish in Wiggins Bay, less than a mile from my house. So, barracuda, number 9. Number 8, this was a challenging one. Bluefish. They're killing my lures, one after the other, one after the other. And I post a picture on Facebook of the broken lure. My friend says, "Hey, that's bluefish. This is how you're going to catch them. You're going to go out to the pass at night." And sure enough, bluefish are in the pass at night. And you need some really strong leaders. You need some really strong line, because they bite hard and they break you off. So definitely on the list, bluefish. And again, Wiggins Pass was the location. You gotta love bluefish. Really hard to catch because they'll break you off like we saw. Number 7, my first redfish ever, and it was legal size, so I was able to keep it. I was out in Wiggins Pass, Wiggins Bay actually, in the canoe, and I was using obviously an artificial lure and DOA, and I was so happy to finally land my first redfish. That's a big one for any angler, anybody into fishing, saltwater Florida. If you don't have a redfish on your bucket list, you got to keep trying. You got to have it, and it was just a beautiful specimen. So definitely redfish on the list. Number 6, spade fish. Not that I was thrilled about it, but I had taken my little niece fishing. And you know when you take somebody else fishing, and you know you got to catch something to make sure that little person likes fishing. Because if you take a kid fishing and they don't catch anything, they are done fishing for the rest of their lives. They're not interested. So I was very happy to be able to catch this fish. Not so much for me, but for the next generation. So definitely number 6. Number 5, is that a Mayan or a cichlid, or is it a tilapia? I'm not sure. I'll let you guys decide. If you've been fishing Florida at night and you catch something other than a bass on an artificial lure, you know you did good, because there ain't much out there. And some of these Mayans and cichlids and all these other crap we got here in Florida, they don't bite anything, no matter what you put in front of them. These are the ones, this fish had like a little nest right near the shore, and no matter what I did to this fish, it wouldn't bite. You have to like annoy the crap out of it for the fish to say, "You know what, I've had enough of this lure," and it bites it and attacks it. So definitely I annoyed the crap out of this fish, and it took the lure, and that's why it's on the list, because it's really hard to catch anything other than bass, bowfin, the usual stuff, you know what I mean? Number 4, bowfin. And I know you're not supposed to get them sandy. Well, I know that now, back then I did not know bowfin. Bowfin are so heavy, and you're going to encounter these fish when you're out bass fishing. You get a 9-pound fish and you think it's a bass. Really, it's not a bass, it's a bowfin. They have a really weird shaped mouth, so when they bite the lure or whatever you're showing, they don't really get stuck on it, so you lose the bite. They're so hard to catch. They are heavy. They're in the same environment as bass. Bowfin was on my list. It's high on the list at number 4 because of how hard it is to catch them. They only bite at a certain time of day. There's so much to it. That's why it's number 4 on the list, because of how hard it was. Very happy to finally get the bowfin. A big one, too. Number 3, my first peacock bass ever. This is one of the most challenging fish you're going to catch, because there's only a few canals in South Florida where you're going to find them. This day I was not planning on catching it. We're out on the John boat. We're actually looking for regular bass. And there was an island in the middle. I cast into it. I pull out with a plastic worm. And I'm watching all these YouTube videos. I see all these guys catching peacock bass. And I know they're out there. And believe me, it took a lot. So number 3, my first peacock bass ever. And just like always, once you catch one, that's the toughest one. I was out there again. In like 2 weeks, I caught another one. And ever since, I've never caught him anymore. I kind of got past that phase. But it was so exciting to finally catch it. And totally unexpected, too. So like I said, I get back out there again. And I catch my second one. And I kind of got past that fever. Peacock bass is so cool. The big ones are very smart. You're not going to catch them unless you really know what you're doing. Not if it's overfished. So, number 2, my biggest bass ever at 22 inches. Here in Florida, they don't get too fat. At least in South Florida, they just don't get fat. So, I don't measure by weight. I measure by inches. 22 inches. My biggest bass ever. And I was so happy. I spent so much time bass fishing that I had to give it a number 2, being that it was so important to me to catch this animal. So, bass number 2. And finally, my most treasured catch ever, big snook. Yes, the soap fish. Okay, I know it doesn't look big in the picture. I am 280 pounds, okay? I look skinny in that picture. I am 5'8" and 280 pounds. This fish was big, okay? Picture doesn't do justice. I had to take that picture by myself because it was on a dock at night. I was by myself. I had nobody to take that picture, so I know I'm not even holding the fish right. It was so hard to take the picture, but I managed to take that picture by myself. Yeah, it was big. I don't know how big it was. Definitely my biggest snook ever, and I was so happy to catch this animal. And that's it, guys. Thank you so much for watching my top 10 most favorite fish ever. Subscribe if you're not subscribed. Okay, here's a few other fish that I've caught. Florida gar, they're hard to catch. These were all contenders too, by the way. Florida gar, flounder. Yeah, this can be a tough one for some people. Flounder, definitely been tough for me. Oscar, yeah, it was tough because you have to figure out how to do it. Somebody taught me how to do it. Thank that person so much, and now I know how to catch Oscars. You know when you have a bad day and then you catch something? This bass was it. Having a bad day, but we caught this bass. And then there's this fish. I think it's like 26 inches. I don't know. It was like a quarter inch from being over slot. And I didn't measure it. I had a little girl that was there, you know, little like 5-year-old girl was there, and she measured it, and it was a quarter inch short of being too big. So, yeah, how lucky could you be? And the little girl measured it, because, you know, if I measured it, I'd have been, I wouldn't have been that. We all know how innocent and honest little kids can be. I'm so glad she measured it, because it was just a quarter inch from being too big. I got to eat that fish. Okay, here's another cool catch. This was another nice snook. It wasn't as big as the other one. I caught it on a ladyfish or a mullet, I can't remember, sliced up. The reason I don't like saltwater fishing is because you get so stinky. I mean, there's so much preparation. There's so many lines that break. There's so many hooks to change. Bass fishing is so easy. It's so easy to change your lure. Saltwater fishing, there's so much to it. You always get sweaty and dirty, so that's why I don't do a lot of saltwater.